Hello and welcome! In this tutorial, we will learn how to add a simple foot IK system to any of our characters inside Unreal Engine 5. First, we will define the basics of IK, then we will show the Unreal example of foot IK that comes with the third-person template. Then we will understand it and we will apply it to any of our characters. Now, in order for this to work, our character needs a special type of bone, an IK bone, that maybe not all the characters will have. So, in order to overcome this obstacle, we will also learn how to implement this foot IK without the need of those bones for those characters that does not fit our requirements. The only prerequisite for this tutorial is that you must have some previous knowledge of the animation blueprint. I have already done a video on the fundamentals of the animation blueprint, so if you want to feel more comfortable with it, I recommend you check it out. And before I forget, if you want to support us in any way, be sure to check out our store. We have a lot of cool stuff like a free blueprints course, another to model a castle inside Unreal, and our marketplace assets that were made with care and effort. If you want to learn more, you can consider becoming a member of our channel where you will get exclusive tutorials that can take your game development skills to the next level. So let's define inverse kinematics. We can check Wikipedia. It says it's the mathematical process of calculating the variable joint parameters needed to place the end of a kinematic change. We really don't need to know this. In Unreal, inverse kinematics are used to allow reactive animation such as foot placement or non-planar terrain. So what does this mean? That instead of the bone just following the animation, here we'll have the bones following the animation. We can make changes on the end location. In this case, I want this end location to be on top. So we want our feet to be, in this case, this foot, I want it to be placed here. So now I need to do the calculations to know where to put the knee. Where is the hip? It will be very easy because the animation will be in charge of providing that information, but the knee here in this animation will be here. But now that we have changed the end position of these bones, we need to calculate that, and that is the inverse kinematic. So you can just put it like this. If we have this distance and our bone is like this, then maybe when we move a little bit further, our bone will have this position. So doing this calculation is how we will obtain these results and how inverse kinematic work. So if you really want to research it, there are a lot of information. In our case, this simple information works for us. It's just a way to determine the position of bones whenever we have an end target, and how can we accommodate them in a believable way. And that's what we are gonna do next for the foot IK. Let's start by creating the project, as always. Here, let's click on the game project and select the top no, not the top-down, the third-person project. Blueprints is fine, and I'm gonna call it IK Fit Demo. So this project already comes with a character that has the IK setup, and we're gonna use the same setup that Unreal has gave us. It's an easy way to do it, but it does have certain requirements. So let's update that and dismiss the plugins. Let's just press play and test that everything is working correctly. So there's the IK fit. Now, if we wanted to analyze this, we can simply search the character. If you don't even know how to search the character, well, when you press play, here in the outliner, you will see all the things that exist in this level, in this gray color, and anything that is spawned during gameplay will have this yellowish color. So this blueprint third-person character is the character that we are using here in this demo. It comes with the template, and well, you can see all this other stuff that gets created during the gameplay of our game. So here, third-person character, we can click on edit the third-person character, and we really don't need it to be running, so let's stop the execution here, and let me put my hotkeys just in case. Here we can see what's happening inside the character, the input, but what we want to check is here in the viewport our character skeletal mesh. Here is the skeletal mesh, and also here will be the animation blueprint that is the blueprint that will drive the animations, and also inside it probably is the setup of the IK fit. Now let's open it. Here, browse the asset. Here's the animation blueprint for the female character and for the male character. We will select the female for now. And it says here this is a child animation blueprint from the male character. So then let's open the parent. The parent can be found easily here. If you don't have it in your content drawer, then you will have it here, parent class animation blueprint mannequin. Search it, or you can open it directly with this. So here is the animation graph and the event graph of this character. We have done already a beginner's tutorial on the animation blueprint, but you will find here that it gets a little bit more complicated, especially this animation graph. We not only have a one state machine of locomotion, we also have main state slots, and here we have the different states that you can use. Now, this control rig node is the one that is doing the IK. So we can double click it and we will open the control rig asset that is driving that IK. Now, if you want to delve deeper on how it is working, then you can do it right here. You can start reading this code. It's almost the same as blueprints, with, well, some differences in the pins and in the inputs. These are just variables that we have added before. If you have not used blueprints yet, we also have a tutorial on that, a beginner's tutorial where we explain a lot of the editor functions and all the most common nodes that are used during the development. In this case, if you don't really know blueprints, well, it is similar, so it's really not a requirement for adding an IK fit in our case, because we're not trying right now to explain how this is working. At large is just where is my character? For each fit, we are doing a trace here, a line trace from here to here, to see if this fit should be colliding with the normal ground, or if we are in this kind of situation, we are doing the trace here. But in this case, the collision is not here, but it's instead in this ramp. So we are obtaining this location and making the bone of this fit match that location. And the IK part is just solving, well, let me change the color. If my foot is right here and my pelvis is right here, where should I put the knee? So that's the part that is being solved by the IK. And we can see here, we are doing an IK trace, interpolating the C offsets, use the lowest foot offset to prevent overextension of the pelvis, and then we add those transformations here and move the bones up or down. Here we use the full body IK to solve it as a whole, not just the leg. So that way, when we play the game and we encounter these scenarios, we are also affecting the way our pelvis is moving. Okay, so that's a little bit of the theory, not the specifics of it, but in this case we only wanted to work with our character. And here we will find that I need a bone called IK foot L, IK foot R. Depending on how you're rigging and skinning your characters, well, just rigging really, depending on how you have rigged them, you will have this IK bone. If you are buying a character from the marketplace, be sure that this bone exists. So what I'm gonna do is import a character, one of our characters from the marketplace, and we will add this same setup to its control rig. And well, we will need to create a control rig asset and then start copying and pasting. So let's add a character that will be able to use this approach of IK fit. To know which character can use it, you need to know that these bones exist. Let me check here in the skeleton. Here you should have IK foot, IK hand, but these are the two that we need. In this case, this character was created with the script of Rigify. Well, not Rigify, UEFI. That is a plugin for Blender made by one of the community in Unreal. So let's check the skeleton. And if we check the skeleton, then we have those IK bones, which we need. So let's just migrate this character. Right click on the folder, migrate it. Everything here is okay. Let's okay and search for our Unreal project that I call IK Fit demo content and select Oh, let's select just the content. Select folder. Some content could not be copied. Let's see what did not copy correctly. Build data, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go back to this project. We should have our cute girl character here. Let's open it. And here we have it. Okay, so we could... Where's our character now? If I'm searching for a specific blueprint, I can search it like this, blueprint, third person character, and I'm just gonna show it in folder view so I know where it is. I'm just gonna create a child blueprint, gonna call it my character, and set it up in this game mode, my character. Right now should be exactly the same, but if in my character I change the skeletal mesh to that cute girl and also change the animation blueprint that should come with the cute girl, face link, this is not it. I don't remember how I call it, so let's go to animations here, retarget. Gonna filter here by blueprint, or well, animation blueprint. And here we have it, third person. Let's just select that. We can press play, and it is working now. It's using right now retargeted poses of the third person character. It was created before the release of Unreal 5, so it has that manly pose. But what we want to do is the IK fit. So let's create that asset now. So we need the control rig asset. Let's search for our skeletal mesh, and let's remove this filter by clicking on it or just right click it, removing it. And here we have the skeletal mesh. We will right click, create, and control rig. We will call it control rig cute girl IK fit, and we will open it. Let me save everything so I don't lose any progress. I'm gonna close this, and also this. Right, so what I need to do is use this control rig code in order for this other character to have the same behavior. Okay, right now it's really not that simple as just selecting all this and copy and paste, because the times I have done that and the variables did not exist, then it gave me some errors and ultimately crashed my computer. So we do want to know that we are using the forward solve. So here, if you have it in in backward solve, put it in forward solve. Now we need the variables that exist here. We have first one function, and second all these variables. I know I said this first, but let's begin by adding the variables. We have 5 floats and 1 boolean. So let's create that. Float, 5 of them, and the last one, a boolean. Let's copy and paste the names. And you can switch between tabs with Control Tab. And I'm renaming this by using the hotkey F2. And I'm gonna pause the video because it's just copying and pasting names. Or maybe it's better if you see it. It can be a little time consuming, but it is necessary in order to avoid some crashes. In blueprints, it's easier if some variable doesn't exist. It creates some gray variable and you can right click it and just promote it to a variable, and then it exists and it is easier. But here we really need to do it this way, or at least in the release version of the engine. Now we need a function. I just clicked here, added a function. I want to call it exactly the same, food trace. Double click it to open it here, and double click it also here to open. I'll copy and paste this. Here it is. Now let's check what is asking me. Item IK food bone. Here I don't have an item, so let's just put it like this. Alright. Also, it's not like, oh, it is like blueprints that you can drop it on top and it will create this item. I really need to call it exactly the same. So let's here select everything here and yes, copy the name. For the output, we use this hit location and it is called hit location. But here it's not called hit location, it's called offset as a return value, a vector return value. And we need to check that all these nodes are exactly the same, which they aren't. So let's check it. Global space, initial. This seems like it was copied well. Bone, root. Okay, so far so good. Result. This need to be connected. So let's connect it. Oh, sometimes you have this error when you are copying and pasting nodes in control rig. Don't worry. You can just, it's because the editor thinks they are already connected. So we're just going to disconnect it. You can right click and disconnect, or it's easier if you just, oh, I didn't get the option to disconnect, so that's why I'm using another way. Here, this result can connect it to start, and this other result to end. Now you can disconnect it. You can break the link, but I'm just gonna connect it the right way. Like this. Now they are connected. If you press play, sometimes it crashes on me. If you press play and you don't fix this, sometimes it crashes, but this way don't, at least it haven't crashed on me yet. The hit location is already connected here. We added it. So far so good. These have these icons because they're being a debug, edit the visual debug. Later we can turn that debug on if you need. But we have this function working, or well, at least not working yet, but properly connected. And I'm gonna put it like this, right? So let's compile it, save it. So far so good. We have not copy and pasted this part that is the most important part, but we have all that we need before we do that. So now we can go back to the rig graph, select everything. I believe you can even select this forward solve, but I don't like doing it. Copy it, paste it here. Be sure to leave a good amount of space here. And this action requires a function to be localized. Check the functions you want to create. Food trace should be the same. So yeah, let's put okay. and it created a food trace for me. That didn't happen before in the preview version. Well, I'm just not going to connect it just yet. Let's just check if something is wrong or not. So first, let's check values. Should do IK trace right here is false, but it is instance editable. So let's make it instance editable. These offsets should be just 0. Yeah, so that this is fine for now. Now we compare branch. Right now it's okay. Bone, IK foot L. Here I should check for the same IK foot L. And it seems that it didn't catch it immediately because the IK was in lowercase. So we can just search it very easily. Right. This part is okay. Right now I'm using a foot trace that is not the one that I need. But it seems that it copied perfectly. This didn't happen before when I tried to use it. So let's just use it. Let's just remove this. I don't want to hit compile just yet because I have a lot of errors, but for now I'm gonna leave it like this. This has the correct names, offsets, sets the variables, interpolations. Let's check if this is correct. Scale. Seems like it's the same values. We have the same variables. If condition, yeah. So far so good. Here, interpolation have some errors. It's because of the naming convention. My IK is in lower cases, so let's just change it to the IK that works. And here, bone pelvis should be exactly the same. So far, so good. The last part, we just need to fix the IK. IK again, but R. And the foot should have the same name, at least in this character, or in most marketplace assets, it should have the same name. So well, now we can connect it, and now we can see if it is working. Let's connect this, compile it, save it. So far so good. This I'm gonna change to foot trace without the one. Compile it, save it. And in order to use it, we need to remember that in animation blueprint, here we have a control rig alpha should do IK trace. We need to add this to the animation blueprint of our character. So let's search it, open it. It's not in the event graph, it's in the anim graph. You can see it's very simple compared to the other one. So let's here, control rig. The control rig, the class that I want to use, just like in this case, no, not this case here should be control mannequin basic foot IK. Here is, whoops, select the one that cute girl IK fit. Let's compile, and it's not showing me my variable. So here let's check. Should do use pin or use curve. Should do pin input. Here I have an input. So let's add that input. Here it is. Now we can put it true because in my other animation, we're using this is falling. We should not do IK tracing if we are falling. So this makes sense. Let's copy. Oh, this already have a is in error. So we should do the IK trace if it's not in the error. It's the same principle and should be being set up the same. This variable is being set up in the event graph here, is falling, is in error. It's the same thing. Right? Let me just make sure of that. is falling. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Let's compile it, save it, and now let's see if it is working. Let's press play. And it is working. But now we need to do some work in order for it to walk around. Otherwise, we will be using the IK on everywhere except when we're falling, and even if we're falling, I believe is doing the IK trace. Right, we can disable that. Should do the IK trace, false. And it's not listening to me now. Something like this. There it is. So now we just need to fix that part of the IK tracing, and we should be good to go. In order to fix it, we first need to understand what's the problem. If we check out the animations of the mannequins, here we will find the running animation. We shouldn't worry too much about these notifies, but I do want to select here in the skeleton tree the IK foot, and I see that the movement is being driven by that IK foot, or at least it is moving with the foot. Let me pause it. And we can see it is moving. We can find also the foot bone, and it also moves around. But if we open the animation of our character, which we retarget, well, this character comes with retargeted animations as a test. Where is it? Here's the run. If we press here in the skeleton tree for the IK foot, it's not moving around. If we search for the foot joint, that one, it is moving, but it's not moving my IK. So we can, in order to test that it is working correctly, we can try to modify the control rig, but instead, because I really don't like those animations, we're gonna retarget the animations of the female mannequin, in this case, Queen. These are the animations, and we should be able to retarget all the assets. To do that, here in rigs, we will need a retargeter that, well, Unreal already gave us one, so we don't need to waste too much time creating it. This retargeted needs a source IK rig asset, which it's already created for us, and also a target IK rig. Now, let's create one for our character. Let's go to the skeletal mesh, right click it, and create. And it's not here, so, well, we can also right click, animation, IK rig. I'll select the cute girl. I'm gonna call it IK cute girl. Open it. Here I have all the bones that I need. But let's see the IK rig of our characters. IK mannequin is here, so let's put it here. And here we have a full body solver, but also here in IK retargeting, we have some values. So those values we need to match, and there are a lot now that I see them. So I'm gonna do a few of them here, IK retargeting, and show you how you can add it easily. Now, let's go to the cute girl, and we need a chain for the spine. If I could, I would hide the face bones, but let's just skip that. So here in my IK, we need to set up a retarget root. Let's choose the pelvis, right click, set retarget root. Now we need here a spine chain from the spine 1 to spine 5. So spine, in this case to spine 3, right click it, and new retarget chain. This is from spine 1, and it has the same name. Oh, it doesn't have the same name, so let's put the same name, spine. Now we have the left arm, and we can see how these spines, or well, these chains work. In this case, left arm from the upper arm to the hand. So I'll select upper arm to the hand. Does this have a clavicle? It sure, yeah, it does have one, but it is not being taken in account. So we can see the start bone and the end bone, and then we can try to match it to our character. And this one is called left arm. Now you can see that this can get a little bit tedious, but you really need to make sure that everything is matching. Here, IK goal, we need to select an IK goal for this, and in this case is hand L goal, which is here. We can create that by selecting the chain, going to the hand L, and right click it, new IK goal. We have body mover, lymph IK, set transform, pole solver. Let's check what we are using here. Full body IK effector, goal name, strength alpha, and this is the goal. Goal additive. And here I see that it is being used in this full body IK. So if I try to move it around, yeah, it should influence all the body. So I'm not gonna pay too much attention to it just yet. Or well, maybe I should show it now, because I'm gonna then pause the video and do everything that we need. So to create this solver in our character, well, add new solver, full body IK, root bone, it asks us, and we should match retarget root, pelvis settings, full body IK. This is the root bone. So I'm gonna full body IK, select that, right click the pelvis, and set root bone on selected solver. Now we're missing goals. Let's go to my hand L. Did I miss it? Here it is. No, hand R, hand L, right click, we can set up a new goal here. New goal. Settings for full body IK. So I believe the hand R also have it. Yes. Then the foot R, foot L goal. So let's search for the hand. New IK gold. I'm able to select this goal without choosing which one I want because I have this solver selected. Foot R. Now we have the goals set up, and now here in the left arm I can select the IK goal, hand, that's hand R, hand L goal, and now it's exactly the same as this chain. Now for the pinky, there's also a chain, left ring, so every single chain that you will find here, you need to replicate. There are also twists here. And let me try to select this. Twist here is just from the lower arm twist. It starts from here and it ends there. So it's really easy to add these ones. We have these two twists. The same for the other twists. And if our character does not have this twist, or does not have some kind of bone that we are missing, then we don't need to add that chain. Okay, so for now, here we have a left clavicle, right clavicle, foot IK. For now, we just need to copy and paste, well, not copy and paste, just replicate what we have here in this IK rig to the one that is our character. So I'm gonna do that and I'll show you the result. So that took a while, but I now have almost all these chains here in my character. I made sure that the names are the same, and also the start bones and end bones are the same. So now that we have the IK working, we can now proceed with retargeting. We will go back to the retargeter, which if you don't have it open, you will find it here in characters, mannequins, rigs, RTG, retargeter, and here it is. Now we can change this target IK rig to the cute girl one and start previewing animations, for example, running. And we can also see walking, falling, idle, and we just need to change a little bit of the settings in order for this to work correctly. Let's start with the running. Here, let's make sure that in chain mapping, this has been mapped correctly. So we can auto map in order to refresh if we change another chain or create one that we are missing. For this part, for example, lower, it's okay for now. Yeah, everything is being changed correctly and the source root should be working well as well. Well, yeah, we have selected this. pelvis, and in both eye case it should be set up as the working retarget root, and it seems like I didn't. So I'm gonna set the root bone, set retarget root here. That's weird. I thought we did this at the start, but anyhow, it is now selected like that. We'll save again, and just in case, I'm gonna select the cute girl again, automap the chains, so source root pelvis should be fine. Let's see if this is working now. Yeah, so it is working. I'm getting the animation, and it's not weird. Well, it's a little bit weird, not gonna lie. But let me see if I can change the actor. Here I'm gonna go here in the IK mannequin, and in the preview I'm gonna select the queen skeletal mesh, and now in the retargeter has not updated, so let's close it, let's open it, and now we have the queen mannequin, which it seems that it's using the same animations. And now we can see that it is working semi-correctly. When working with the retargeting, well, with the retargeter, we have some options. For example, these retarget faces, we can retarget the IK, we can decide not to retarget the IK, retarget the FK, we can also decide to not retarget the FK. If I choose the IK in this case, then we can see what the IK is doing, and the FK is also doing. If I didn't retarget the root, then I would have something like this. So it's a combination of both to get the best results, and it really depends on the animations. For example, here the arm is not looking too good, so by retargeting the IK we can fix it a little bit. Yep, so now let's see if my animations can be retargeted. Let's save this for now. And let's pause this. And before continuing, we could cover the topic of retargeting more in depth. But in case, for example, there are some animations here that don't look too well. For example, maybe I want to change this pose here. Or maybe the arms are not retargeting correctly. For now, it's really not that noticeable. But if we want almost, or well, almost perfect is never possible. Almost perfect, really time consuming. So if we wanted a better retarget, we can check the pose. Let's edit the pose. And here in the target actor offset, we can move it around or just put it in 0. And we will see that the hands are not a perfect match. So we can try to move the legs, the hands to match it a little bit better. We can also scale it a little bit in order to match better, but for now, let's just leave it like it is, because it is giving me a good enough result. Now, we could retarget, like, oh, I want all these animations. And let's do that for now. I only wanted to change the animations of the locomotion with it, which is this idle, which is this run, and this walk. The other ones, for now, I don't care. So we can select this, export the selected animations, cute girl, animations, for now, hood retargeted. And now we have them. Let's open the animation blueprint of this character. And I'm gonna replace the idle run, which is a blend space, and I'm gonna replace it by the ones that have been retargeted. Hopefully, if I open these animations, the IK also was retargeted, but it seems it wasn't retargeted. And that's going to be a problem. So we need to tweak a little bit of our retargeter if we want to make this IK move. So what I'm gonna do here in the chain mapping, I'm gonna search for my foot. No, not the foot root, the left foot and the right foot. And here in the translation mode, I'm gonna select globally scaled. And if that gives me not good results, we can check if the absolute works for us. Usually you want to use absolute if you are retargeting the root motion. But for now, we really don't need that yet. Root. Yeah, here we could add some root motion in the absolute, but globally scaled should be good enough for us. Perfect. Let's save this and let's retarget again. And I don't want to, where is it now? Here's the retargeter. I don't want to overwrite the animations that we already have here. So I'm just gonna put them here in the content folder for now. Let's see the run. Should be open by now. Here it is. And now the IK foot is moving, which is what I needed. Let's open our blend space here and change the animations. So here it's going to be the idle one, the run one will be here, and the we can snap this by pressing shift and holding it. So let me do that when I overwrite this, or we can also just delete this and run, shift is being hold, and walk forward was here. So now we can test this and the IK foot is moving correctly. Let's go to a third person. Let's press play. We are now using the animations of the female mannequin, that it seems to be the same ones as the male mannequin. We have the movement, and also we have the IK foot working. You will see a little bit of clipping because in this case, this character is using some platforms, but it does do a good job in most situations. If we needed to tweak this a little bit, we can add a little bit more height to the calculations in the control rig. Now, while testing this, you will see that whenever we are running, and it will be working fine, but when we jump, it gives us this because it's using the old animations. We can retarget this, and well, adapt it to our own character, or we can retarget the whole animation blueprint of our mannequin. In this case, we have the animation blueprint of Queen, and we also have the animation blueprint of Manny. We have to take in consideration that this is a child blueprint, so it will be using the parent as a guide. Let's try. I really wanted to test this. The animation blueprint from Queen. I'm gonna right click it, retarget animation asset, duplicate our retarget animation blueprint. The retargeted will be the one that we were using. This one, this is perfect. The folder, I'm gonna create one, cute girl animations, and I'm gonna call it new folder, Unreal Engine 5 animations. Like that, and let's press retarget. Seems to be complete. Blend spaces, animations, and we have these two. I'm gonna select this one, and I'm gonna open my character, the third person character. I'm pressing Ctrl P to open asset quickly, and it was BP dash, well, lower dash, my character. Double click it, that will open it. Open full blueprint editor, gonna select the mesh, and here I'm gonna select the animation blueprint. It's not this one. Cute girl animations, Unreal 5. And oops, it's this one, Queen. If we see that it works, then we later can change it a little bit. For now, let's save it, third person. Let's see if we jump, it is working correctly. And it is working fine. The landing works fine. Seems pretty good. Don't like it that much that the head tends to tilt forward, maybe too much. Makes the character crouch a little bit. But it is working. So we successfully retarget the animation blueprint, but we see that there is still some tweaking that can be done. I don't want to leave you hanging, and especially when we can solve this right now. So let's do it. I'll find my animation blueprint, and let me open my character, because now I'm using a different animation. Is this my character? Nope. It's my character. Here it is. And this character is now using the retargeted animation class. So let's open it. And also we need to fix a little thing here. Let's remember that the retargeting has retarget this blueprint as a child blueprint, and we need to open the parent one. And I have this error because this control rig node is using my control rig of the mannequin. So we need to change this to the cute girl IK feed, or whatever the name your control rig asset was. Now we're using the correct control rig, but still the feet are overlapping the ground. So we can tweak this inside the control rig. Let's double click it. And here it is talking about offsets. And here it is talking about traces, the foot trace. Here we can open the local function. And if this is the hit location, I just need my feet to be a little bit higher. So I'm gonna add vector, open this, and I only want to modify this C value. For example, if I put 5 here and save it and play, then now my character is kind of flying, but at least it's not overlapping. Now, in this case, the fit, when we do the IK trace, it's still overlapping, and it seems I'm crashing. Well, I didn't crash, but it did scare me a little. So again, as I was saying, I managed to get my feet out of the ground, but when it hits a volume, a collision volume, then we are still overlapping, and this doesn't look too good. Now, that hit can be fixed here when we are talking about the interpolations of the movement. We just need to crank it up a little bit. So here we can again add, and I'm just going to do it for the left foot, and for example let's put 10 here. Now my left foot is a little bit affected, but it's a lot more affected when we do this collision. Now the values will depend on your character, but the way I found values that will work for me, and did this crash? Come on, nice. I found the values that work for me by, here in the foot trace, just putting 0, and here just leaving it like this, adding some value. This is too much, then it's too much, so just divide it. 5. When it gets too low, right now I'm still overlapping a little bit here, but now when I do this, it's getting a better result. So I just need to bump it a little bit. This value works for me, but to bump it a little bit, then I can go to the foot trace again, and here add 1 or 2. Let's try with 2. 2, I believe it's too much because now I'm a little bit floating. I'm tippy-toeing. So let's try 1. Now it seems like it's in the ground. And when I do this IK part, then for me it's perfect. I mean, there's a little bit of overlapping, just a little bit, but it's really acceptable. So for now, I would consider this character as done, and the IK as working correct. Pretty nice. So we have this character working correctly with the IK, but what would happen if we didn't have those IK bones? For example, like in this character, our anime girl, Cleric. This character does not possess those bones. Well, it was created a long time ago, and we were using the animation and rigging tools from Unreal, and there was really not that much documentation on how to use it, so we probably missed a setting to import those IK bones. So if we could re-rig it again, then we could get those IK bones, but there's no way I can do that for this video. So what approach could I take in order to make this character have some type of IK fit? Let's first change our character, our game mode. And select our cleric. Let's press play, and we should have the cleric working. This character right now does not have any type of IK. Right, so let's see what's happening inside. And no, before that, we need to see the solution first, right? How could we possibly make it? Well, we already learned half of the solution. Here, if we see the content examples that I should have here, here in maps IK rig, you will find this little example about additive IK. If I press play from here, shows exactly what I need. A little bit of IK that can work with my current animations. So let's check it out. Skeletal mesh, animation blueprint, additive IK. Let's check that, open it. We have the animation of the spider walk. We have an IK rig component, and we have some goals here, some positions that we can use to manipulate this offset, right? So let's double click this rig. Well, here, double click this part, and we can see the goals. We can see the body solver, full body IK, and if we check the goals and we move them around, we see that everything is moving correctly. We already have done this setup before with the full body IK, so it's just a matter of creating it and then allowing these goals to be accessed by our animation blueprint like this. So we will see here some goals, manual input. We can't here add the offset needed for each leg. And that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna create the IK rig for our character that does not possess the IK bones. And then we're gonna expose some variables here to set them up in the animation blueprint. So let's start with this. To start with this other way of doing the IK fit, what we're gonna do is create the IK rig for this character. You just need to find a place where to put it. Right click, animation, IK rig, and select this skeletal mesh that you're gonna use. Call it IK rig and the name of your character. Open it up, and we're gonna add some solver to allow us to make these IK changes. So we need a full body IK. We could also use a body mover and a limb IK, but a full body IK will also work fine. Missing root bone, and well, later we can use this, not later in this video, later in development, you can use this to move the arms also. So full body IK, pelvis will be the root on the selected solver. We are missing the goals. The goals are the hands, And we can use Control N to create goals very quickly. Right, so the other hand is being used for full body. It's excellent. The foot and the other foot. There it is. We have our goals, which whenever I move them, they are affecting my skeleton. And in my case, I need my feet to move around. So I'm going to try to select this part. And we will see that, yes, my feet are moving around, but it's not exactly pretty. We can fix this movement by setting up some properties of the bones. For example, I really don't want my hip to do that motion. So I'm gonna select the hip, the pelvis, right click it, add settings to selected bone, and be sure to click the full body IK because will be settings for exactly that solver. Setting full body IK, so excellent. Gonna click it, and here we have rotation stiffness and position stiffness. In this case, and I'm gonna make it rotate a lot, we really don't want this movement. We could select these pelvic settings, stiffness, rotation, and put it to 1. If I put it to 1, no more rotation will happen on this bone. But that won't be really realistic, so let's just set it 0.8 something. The same with position. I really don't want my leg to have so much influence on my pelvis. So let me select the pelvis again. And the position stiffness also should change either to 1 or a little bit less. 0.95 maybe could be a good value. This will let me move the leg around and having a rotation that it's a lot more believable. Now, if I go to the front, this rotation is really not believable. So we need to set up a preferred angle for this bone. This bone is the calf, in this case the right calf. I'm gonna right click it, add settings to selected bone, select here the settings. We also have this rotation stiffness and everything like that, but we really don't need this because we do want it to rotate, we do want for it to move around. So here we can set up a preferred angle. This will change to true, and we can play around and see what should be that preferred angle. And maybe this, like 80, could be a fine value. If I don't agree with it, maybe I want it to be more. Just be sure that you are selecting a good angle, otherwise you will break the character's leg. So maybe something like 90 could work. And just check if it is working correctly in most of the cases. Yeah, and it seems acceptable enough, at least for me. Seems good. Pretty good. So now, we also need to set this one up. Otherwise, we have something like this. Let's go to the other calf. Settings for the calf. Preferred angles. and change it to an angle, maybe 100 for both. And this is something that you can tweak. If you see something wrong, you can tweak it later. And we can reset the pose. Yeah, so it is working very well. Here you could also tweak the shoulders to not move around that much. The clap should be the upper arm. You can add settings again. Maybe the position stiffness could be a little bit more. The rotation I believe is fine. Just the stiffness, so it doesn't look too weird. Where's the other upper arm? Add settings for this. Position was 0.8. And there we have it, a little bit better. As I said, we can tweak this as you would like. Let's just reset it for now. But here, in this goal, the foot goals, be sure to click on expose position in this one and in this one. Now let's save it. Let's go to our animation blueprint of the character, and this is not the animation blueprint of my character. If I do remember, we retarget all this stuff. Animations, where did I put this? Well, I can open my character. I believe it's called my character. And no, this is not my character. The blueprint of my character is this one. And well, oh, I'm confusing things. The animation blueprint we retarget was the other character. Here it really is this one. So let's open it. Here this slot default. Oh, let's open the animation graph. The slot default makes the animation montages available for us. So that's why this slot is here. So here I'm gonna add IK rig. Gonna select my IK rig, cleric, and here we have the foot L goal position. Just gonna promote it to a variable, call it foot L offset, and I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D, and going to call it foot R offset and connect it here. Right now, if we compile and save, we can change these values here in the anim preview edit. And here, foot offset, we can see that the leg can go up or down depending on where they are. Now, I do have a little problem here. Maybe the preferred angle should help me solve this in a better way. So it's just a matter of seeing which animations my character is using, and then we can tweak the values of the preferred angles. Let's tweak it right now. Maybe a little bit less, because this is something like this. And where is my calf? Right. Let's try it with 50 in both cases. Let's save it. Let's go to my animation blueprint. Let's compile it. And let's see if it's a little bit better. I mean, we won't be able to do anything if this happens, but at least it's just a little bit of rotation now and not too much of it. Nice. So we have these values, and now we need to get them from somewhere. So that's what we're gonna do next. Set up these values doing the line traces that the control rig did for us in the last, well, in the first version of this IK feed, but we're gonna have to do it a little bit different. So let's fill these values that right now are at 0. To do this, let's compile, let's save. We will go to the event graph. We don't really need this other stuff. And in the event graph, we need to trace, do a line trace, do a capsule test, whatever we need to do to get the collision values. And also, we need to check that we really don't need the IK feet to move around if we are not in the ground, right? So we will use this is in air, right? So let me move this stuff around, and after everything is set up here, and I'm gonna put it like this. After everything is set up, I'm gonna do a sequence. And this will execute later after running all this stuff. So what are we gonna do here? We're gonna ask if we are in air. You can see that here we're just getting that is falling. It's just that in Unreal 4 this was usually called inner. Well, you created a variable called is inner, but now it's just directly is falling. So here I have is inner. This is how you get it. And now let's ask if it is not inner. And this wasn't the node that I needed. It's better to just put this one, not boolean. Here it is. If it is not inner, then I should do the tracings. And otherwise, if it is inner, then the offsets, let's set it both to 0. Good. So here we are gonna do a sphere trace by channel. We are gonna use the visibility channel, and for now I'm gonna put this at 1 frame. Now we need to do 2 traces, one for the left foot and one for the right. So here I need to know where my sphere trace starts. And to get these start and end locations, we can check the control rig that if you forgot where it is, should be wherever you have your skeletal mesh. And the way this is doing the foot trace, here we have the sphere trace by channel and the start and the end. So we are just getting the bone, in this case the foot bone, the IK bone that we don't have, but we will use the normal bone. And we are getting the X and Y value. The set value will be the root bone, and we will add it 30, so it will start. Let's just draw it so it is easier to see. This is the bone, and let's just put it like this. This is the bone. From here, we are getting the C value of the root bone that usually is here. So the C value will start here, but we add in 30. So let's say this is 30 units. And for the end part, we are subtracting minus 50. So this is the range of our foot trace. So let's do this. we can close that. We are going to have to get the value of the bone. So let's find. If I put bone, and I get the value of the bone here, hopefully I can get bone location. Nope. Let's see, what was the node now? So the node I was looking for is the get socket location. To use it here, I'm gonna copy and paste this get bound. Gonna cast it to a character. Now from here, let's get the mesh. And from the mesh, we have get socket location. Even though it says socket, it gets socket or bone location. So I need a bone name. Let's show those names. We have foot R. Let's get the foot R. Let's get the foot L. And let's not forget about the root. Right. We can hide the names now. Great. So now we will start with the right foot. We needed the X and Y locations. We can break it like this. We can also right click and split these pins. And we are gonna make a vector. This vector will have the X and Y locations of this foot and also of the root, the C value of the root. Now, I wanted to add for the start 30 units. So here I can add 30. For the end, also gonna make this. And also is going to use the XY, but instead of adding, I wanted to subtract. And I was going to subtract 50 units because that's the numbers I got from the control rig. Now the radius, believe the control rig was using 3, a really small radius. You really don't need that much. And for now, let's just test it. Let's press play. We have an error. Let's see what's our error here. Forgot about connecting this. Let's compile it, save it, play it. And now I see that I have this trace and I should stop seeing it whenever I jump. But this should already give me the location that I need. For example, here. Or well, in this case, if I'm looking like this, right? So I'm gonna use this out hit, and if it is true, then I'm gonna break this. gonna get the impact point, and that's going to be my offset. If it is showing some clipping, then I'm gonna use just the location, right? So let's just try it for now. This is with the foot right, so let's change the foot right offset. The impact point is this one. Let's compile. And this didn't happen like I was hoping. So what happened? Let's use the location. And right now it's colliding, but it is not. The way I was expecting of using it. Oh. I now need to compare the offset and see if my... Oh, the one first, this foot offset, I only need the C value. That's on me. I only need the C value. And let's now, I will debug it to see what is happening now. And I was debugging it, but it is working correctly. I was printing the value here to check. Why do I say that it is working correctly? Because it is working the other way around. Let's do something like this. And we have this other movement, right? Now it should look like correctly, but what we were missing, well, I was missing, is moving the pelvis around so I can match this movement. I realized that here in the control rig, we do not only set up the offsets of the feet, but also the offset of our pelvis. And then we can manipulate it. So in order to do that, with our character, we need to go back to the IK rig of the cleric, go to the pelvis, set a new IK goal. Be sure to be selecting this full body IK before doing that. This pelvis goal will let us do this movement. Now, let's save it. Let's put this and expose it. And also here in the anim graph, gonna select the pelvis goal position, promote it to a variable, call it pelvis offset. And I'm going to, go back to the event graph, and here this offset should also go to the pelvis. I'm gonna leave it like this for now, just to see if it is working. And I see that it is working in the other way, around. So I need to negate this value. I could also just multiply this by change the pin to a float -1 and just do it like this. And let's see now if it works correctly or not. And it would seem that it does. but my capsule, it's working against me because I have this collision. And it's not doing the thing I want it to do. So I need to change my approach. So I was looking for another approach, but then it hit me. I have been doing some calculations wrong. Why? Because here I'm just printing the impact point, and it's always the same value, because it makes sense that whenever it hits, in this case, it will be the same value unless it changes to this. So what I need to do now, or what I need to fix, is that here's my root, and here is my, well, should be my new position of my feet. So I need to check this offset, and I just need to subtract this value by this value, and I will get it. So in order to fix whatever thing I did here, and I'm just gonna delete this so it is easier for you guys to see. This sphere trace is fine. That works correctly. This is not needed. I was just messing around with that. Now, when I need to check if I'm, how much is the value between this root position and this impact point. So I do still need to check this value, and I'm going to, here, this value of the root, this C value, gonna subtract it by the impact point. If this doesn't work, I'm just changing the values, but I don't remember how I fix it, but we just need to know the value in between these two values. So that's why I'm just subtracting it. Now let's get our, I was doing it with the right foot, right? Yes. So foot R offset true here, and I'm gonna connect it like this. I just need the C value. Gonna press play and see if this worked correctly. If it doesn't, if it is going upwards, then I mess up, and it should be the other way around. Now let's press play, and now my feet will try to stay in the ground as long as it can. And now here is where the hip displacement, well, the pelvis offset enters. It should be exactly the same value. And now we have it. There it is. Right now it's not working with my other feet, with the left one, but all I need to do is just follow the same steps. So what did I do here? Here I'm setting an offset, and I could easily change this to a function. But do I want to do that? Or do I want to take the easy way out? Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys, just to keep your code clean. So I will make this into a function this way. I'm gonna select this, and yeah, for now it's okay. It's okay. I'm just selecting these operations. Oh, and there's going to be yeah. Now I have it in my head now. This, in order for me to be easy, now my English is failing. In order for changing this into a function easily, I will first make a vector, well, break a vector like this. Break vector. And I'm gonna pass this here, the y here. Gonna make this, recombine it into a vector and do something like this. Copy and paste it. This also was going into C, right? Yes, C. Control, drag, click, and should work. Recombine. Okay. Now it should be a lot easier because I only need to pass a vector here, and I should get a vector from this. So let's make this, or well, make vector. I just needed this node. This will be the C node. I will recombine this like this. And now, instead of using this if statement, I'm gonna use this select. And it seems I can only select a vector. Okay, let's select a vector. If this is true, I will pick A. So A will be this value. If it is false, then I want to pick B, which is 0, 0, 0, which makes no change at all. So something like this. I'm just doing some quick conversions in my code so I can convert it into a function without too much trouble. Yeah, so now I will have as an input 2 vectors, and as an output 1 vector. I can select all this now, right click it, collapse to function. This will be the food trace. My first vector should be named food location. The next one should be root location. And the return value should be the offset. Now I can first do it like this for the food trace, for the food R. And before changing the pelvis, this part is important, I need to also do the food trace for the left foot. And the root is the same. Now I need to put my left foot here, set it up. And now I need to check which of these offset is the greatest, and depending on which one is the greatest, I will set it up as the pelvis offset. I will use the same select node here, so select vector, and the way I'm gonna compare it is just getting these two values, splitting them, and if the left offset is greater, if it doesn't work with greater, we just change it to less, and that's it. If it is greater than C of the right offset, then we will pick A, and A will be the left foot offset, and B will be the right foot offset. Let's check if this works. Here it's not working exactly well. So we can change it like this, or we can change it the other way around. So I believe that should be easier. And now it does work as we expected. Yeah, so I told you, if it didn't work at first, we just need to change the values. Either that convert that less to excuse me, that greater than to less than, or just change the outputs. Now we just need to remove this and at least make it a little bit more clear. Something like this. Compile it, save it. We shouldn't have any more problems. And here it is. IK fit without the IK bones by using the IK rig asset. Pretty cool, right? And let's do this little test where the shouldn't work there. If the ledge is too big, then it shouldn't work. The IK shouldn't work. That's pretty cool. Right now, it's 3 in the morning. I started at 12. A lot of troubleshooting, but it is worth it because we now can use IK with any character, really. So that will be it for this video. We have learned how to make IK with a character without the IK bones and a character with the IK bones by using the IK asset and also by using control rig, like the way Epic gave us that template. So leave a like, subscribe. You can also become a member if you can support us, and if you like what we do. We are still wanting to give more free content, and I would like to thank everybody that have become a member. It really touches our heart. So yeah, we'll see you in the next video.